So you end up taking a plea, and at this time, how old are you?
I was probably about 22.
22. Okay. So at 22 years old, you are on the way to a federal penitentiary.
Hmm.
When you get there, like, cause this once again, this is something that like the average person they can't really relate to. They don't really know. So like when you get there at 22 years old, man, like what goes through your head when you get to the facility, they open up the gates, you get there, you got to get your stuff, you got to get settled in. Like, what's the mentality of a 22-year-old at that time? Like, especially in the federal penitentiary, like this is the big leagues.
Yeah. I think when I got there, I was kind of more prepared than the average person would be, just because I had spent 9 months of time with the same type of people that was gonna be there. So it wasn't this really big shock to me, because it was like everybody who I was in the situation with for the 9 months was the same people that was gonna be going to that same area. So me having to learn how they was moving and what they was on and what type of time it was with them, it showed me like what to expect. I'm not gonna lie, like it was completely different in one sense, but it wasn't, because when we got there, or when I got there, what happened was it was like you got sections, so much more segregation than anything. Like when I was on pretrial, it wasn't as segregated. When I got there, it was like this area is for them, this area is for them, this area is for them. You had to really understand, like, know your areas and know who you can network with and know who you can talk to, or you could get yourself in some trouble that you really not trying to get yourself into if you're not prepared for it. How they had it structured in there, down to the remote, down to the child line, down to what table you can sit at, down to what program you could work in. Like, it's that type of structure, and you pretty much had to pick your side and pick who you was gonna move with and pick what you was gonna be into. And the first thing they asking you, what set you claim and what type of vibe you on, what type of situation you going with, and you knowing that off of the first entry level temperature. Like when you in the shoe, you got everybody who from out of the pies that's in trouble in this same area. So they yelling through, talking crazy, just going crazy, you know what I mean? So you really getting the vibe of what it's gonna be like once you get to your pod already. Cause they already trying to geek you up and scare you, but they not knowing like I was already locked up for 9 months. Most of the people, if you ain't never done pretrial confinement, you never being in that environment like that that's so hostile. So once you get into it, it's a culture shock because everybody on you. You new to the situation, so they trying to break you the moment you step into the doors. But by the time I got there, they had already had word of me, who I was, what I was going on. Niggas had the paperwork. Niggas had everything you could think of what I was coming with by the time I got there. So it was a completely different transition for me than I would say for a lot of other people, just because of the time I spent on pretrial confinement. Because 9 months is a long time to be somewhere waiting to go to your next transition, and they already knew where I was going. So other people had got, you done seen hundreds of people during that time, then either got out or went in or went up top. And by the time I got there, my name and who I was and what was going on was already situated. They was already knowing what my deal was by the time I got there.
Did you have to show your paperwork the first day you got there?
Nah, they already had it by
They
the time
already
I
had it.
got there.
Oh yeah. Well, see, yeah.
They
So,
had the paperwork when I got there. And it was like, it's so funny because you see like the difference when the different crimes, you see when they come in and you see how the paperwork game is really like something so serious that the people in the streets, they don't get it. Like, this is a whole nother world when you're talking about how seriously they take that paperwork stuff in there. You snitching, you telling, you doing any of that, you child molesting, you doing anything that they not with, you might as well call it a day. Like, you not coming in there and doing nothing. Like, they putting the beating on you off rip. Like it's completely different environment. But like I said, by the time I got there, everybody had already been talking about me and already knowing like what was going on. Some people was like, "Oh, I thought you was gonna be there. How you was talking?" And they like, "You end up taking some time." And I'm like, "Yeah," but like I said, by the time I got there, it was too many people that had transitioned to there from me being just in the confinement because people was going up the road every day.
Right.
So by the time I got there, everybody already knew what was going on with me.
Okay, so how was it for you to was it because of that, was it easy for you to transition like into the politics that come from being in the federal penitentiary? Because in the state it's kind of like, it seems like it's kind of like free for all. I've never been to prison, but just like what I've heard, like it's kind of like more of a free for all. It's a little bit of organization there, a little bit of politics there, but like in the feds it's kind of like very organized. Like it's real politics that you have to follow, and certain groups that you run with and that you don't, and stuff like that. Like, so because of your situation, was it easy for you to transition into the politics that come with being in the feds?
It was because one of my roommates was actually at the pre-trial with me before I actually transitioned there. So by the time I got there, it was like, "Oh, this bro, woo woo, bring him over here. You gonna be with us." Cause I seen somebody else that I knew from there too, and that was actually the first person I seen. So when I walk in the pod, I see somebody that I know. I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" Then my other bro come like, "Nah, come with us. You don't even need to be over there like that." So I immediately went where everybody was at, and that was the elite people who was running the pie at that time. It's like they controlling everything. This group listen to them, this group listen to them, this group listen to them, type of situation. And because of what I was coming there for, and because of my background, it was like, yeah, you with us, because these people on that type of time, these people on that type of time, these people on this type of time. So it was like they already knew where I was coming from. They had known about the altercations I got into it with at pretrial confinement. They knew what type of person I was, and I was standing up for what I was standing up for, because I was in the mindset like I can't be punked in here. I can't let nobody go against what I was on. And I was the skinniest thing coming in there, so I'm already knowing I gotta prove myself. You know what I mean? So by the time I got there, I had been working out the whole 9 months, so I had got a little bigger. But by the time I got there, I had probably got the biggest I ever was in my life. I was almost like 200 pounds at one point, and just solid muscle. Like, if you go back and look at when I came home, I had dropped down to like 180, and it was just solid muscle. Like, and I was just in the gym every day, of course, because I was in there. So it changed me to being like, get my mental health together, get my physical health together, get my passion together, get what I really wanted to do out of life together. And that's what kind of led to everything else transitioning.